Hello everyone, I have clocked in my Ghostwire Tokyo playthrough 33 hours, all achievements are done, every little piece of content explored and completed, so I am ready to tell you my overall thoughts on the game. I'll give you an early inkling of what's to come. Overall I had mixed impressions, some of what is offered here is good, maybe even great, but some parts of the side content really do downgrade what the main story and combat do. A lot of it feels stacked in and not thought for, and like it was added last minute to increase the number of hours the game offers in terms of content. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let's go over the different sections and check how Ghostwire Tokyo did across the board, shall we? I would like to say, regarding the story, that Ghostwire Tokyo's story is as good as previous stories made by Tango Gameworks. Unfortunately, that's not the case. In Evil Within, you can feel the heavy atmosphere, the psychological horror that's going inside Detective Sebastian's mind. The story threads slowly unraveling on a mass murder case that was being investigated, and some major twists behind it all. That was Shinji Mikami's work as one of the best survival horror game devs. Ghostwire clearly lacks his input. He took a back foot and only supervised. He took a back foot and supervised only the work being done, but had no part in the creative process. Ghostwire Tokyo is not really a survival horror. It's more like an open-world action RPG with horror elements. Even I didn't understand very well what the story designers and writers were trying to achieve here. Simply put, a masked man takes over Tokyo and everyone instantly disappears, becoming ghosts. Your character is luckily taken by a spirit that was going after this masked man, so he didn't disappear. As you slowly start figuring out who is this spirit that took over your body, and his motives, along with how this masked man is responsible for your sister's abduction, you start working together and cooperating. As you do that, you gain powers derived from the spirit inhabiting you. You start to unravel the mysteries behind the disappearances, the main villain's motives, his connections to some of your allies, and of course you'll go through some Japanese folklore figures like yokai and other interesting themes. It's a very simplistic and generic plot when it comes to the main character and the villain. There is no epicness to it, the mystery is not interesting, and the plot will get dull quickly. That's not to say that the gameplay within the main quest is not good, but the story accompanying them is just not up to par when you compare it to Evil Within games. For the progression systems and traversal systems, leveling up in Ghostwire Tokyo is as simplistic as is the main story plot thread, to be honest. You gain XP by completing main quests, side quests, killing enemies, doing a lot of collectibles, gathering, and all that XP is then spent on 3 big skill trees that are divided into equipment, abilities, and ethereal weaving skill trees. The equipment skill tree pretty much allows you to increase your bow capacity and draw speed. You'll also be able to increase the number of talismans you can carry and skills revolving around prayer beads, which are a way to increase your ethereal weaving or ability stats for more damage or speed. The ethereal weaving skill tree allows you to upgrade all your fire, wind, water powers, be it dealing more damage, a wider range of the attack, for example. The fire charged attack will be wider and can now hit more enemies and when it makes contact with one and explodes. You can also speed up your charged attack more and more, you get the idea. Whereas the ability skill tree allows you to boost certain abilities like spectral vision, which allows you to basically use X-ray vision to spot enemies, collectibles, and so on. Also, how long can you glide in the air, how fast can you walk when sneaking, grab speed off the cores of enemies when you are fighting them, how much time you can be on your ultimate ability called wire in. So, diversity is here, but it's not mind-blowing. You can also interact with different yokai encounters to gain Magatama, which will unlock parts of the skill tree that aren't available with normal skill points you get from leveling up. Aside from what I mentioned above, there is not much else. I spoke about it briefly, but traversal is done either by running or walking or by using Tengo, which is a yokai, in the air to grapple and reach high spots, and then you can glide around going from rooftop to go collect mind-numbing collectibles. I'll speak just once about collectibles. They are a detriment to this game. They put it down at every moment you spend playing it. It's a nightmare for completionists, especially collecting all 170,000 spirits hidden around the city. That's just hideous design, and it's there to pad game length. Abhorrent design, really. Add more side content, story content, more combat encounters, art combat encounters, everything but frustrating collectibles that add nothing but alienate players to your game. This game could have been an 8 or 9 out of 10, but the collectibles and systems around them put it massively down and deter players from ever thinking about replaying this game. I'm serious, I'm really serious on this. It's a shame, really, it's a shame. Combat. This is Ghostwire's Tokyo Ace, basically, and the developers know it. The combat is flashy, it's fun, and it's dynamic. You have these fire, wind, water, ethereal abilities that you use to chip away at different enemies until their core pops out. Once their core pops out, you can grab it, which takes a few seconds, leaving you vulnerable to be attacked by other enemies, and you are always fighting groups of mobs. Very rarely do you get a 1v1 fight. Still, comboing and quick switching between different powers is so satisfying. Chipping away with wind attacks when enemies are far away, you then switch to water attacks when a group is closing in on you to do a spread attack on all of them, or fire damage to do a big DPS on a single target, and you can do even charged fire attacks to do even more damage or a wider radius of your attack. I really love the combat. It helps that animations are on point, and you can even look on YouTube and on the gameplay footage right now, here on your screen. The animation for each power attack are well done, and really makes you feel powerful. It's the main grab of the game, to be honest. I saw many people throwing shade at enemy variety and enemy design in general, but I actually believe what was offered here is good, and on the hardest difficulty enemies will charge you quite quickly. They will fool you most of the time with their walk speed, but it varies, and sometimes they can close the gap pretty quickly. You won't always have these powers at your disposal. You have a pool of ki, I think it's called, sorry if I'm wrong here, but each wind, fire and water attack needs a specific amount of ki to be used. If you have no ki, or if you overuse your powers, you'll be locked to your bow or talismans and the melee attack as a source of damage and crowd control. You can collect this key by melee striking random objects floating in the air or by killing enemies. I really never had the problem with my reserves of key. It's also possible to have more available key pools for your different powers by finding Jizu statues that are spread around the Tokyo, which is more collectibles, right? All in all, combat is what makes this game fun, bearable, and something I would come back to. Shame that around its excellent combat and enemy design you have a lackluster story and side content. In terms of the world and soundtrack, I'll be brief here. The world of Ghostwire Tokyo is not that much memorable. Yes, it's an accurate representation of Tokyo, but that has been done in the past by other games and much better, like Yakuza or Persona come to mind. Still, the foggy atmosphere and the eerie look does give it a unique spin of Tokyo. It's cool to explore the different locations. I just wish there was more reason and incentive to explore that isn't a collectible. The soundtrack is also nothing to write home about. I guess it serves its purpose, but it's not memorable at all. For the final thought and score, Ghostwire Tokyo tries to innovate, and it does look sleek in some areas, particularly the combat. I need to give props to Tango Gameworks. It's what kept me glued in despite its issues. I do think that the negatives outweigh the positives though. A lackluster story accompanied by a need to pad game length with accessible collectible hunting, which cannot be described as anything remotely as fun. It derails the entire game and really discourages you to not explore, since the amount is so big, especially spirits. Oh my god, I shouldn't even talk anymore on it. You should buy it when it's on a deep sale, just for the combat, and do a main story romp and forget about anything else except side quests for the rest of the content. Could have been really good, but I have a feeling the creative vision around the side content was too focused on justifying the price tag for the game. There is one small up here, and although it won't fix the underlying systems of Ghostwire Tokyo that are very wrong, it is new content, new enemies, side quests, and combat, which is great, on the form of the Spider Threats update that's coming in this week on April 12th. I'll be checking this out and provide a mini video on it with my thoughts. I don't think it will fix any of the issues that I have with Ghostwire Tokyo, especially the collectibles part, because I think they are adding even more collectibles. But it's more content in terms of side quests and combat. New enemy designs, more variety. It's good, it's more. That's a wrap, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Content on the channel has been a little slow. With Diablo 4 beta, it's taking me additional time to write these reviews and completing the games. A review for Wolong will be coming in this week or next week, and I'll start Resident Evil 4 Remake. I want to make an early thoughts on that because it's a short game, but I'll be posting a full review on it. So, see you on the next one, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.